Okay, today we have an interview here with Rich Terrio, and Rich is another resident of IB, and Rich has kind of an outstanding achievement here recently. We call Rich IB's biggest loser, and the reason why is 2 years ago Rich weighed 240 pounds. Now, make a muscle, Rich. Make a muscle. Look at this guy. He's so buffed. But here he's showing a card. That was his picture 2 years ago, where he weighed 420 pounds. So now we got a buffed out Rich. Now, Rich, your age, you say, is just over 40, right? That's what you're going to admit to? Okay. How long you lived in IB?
Since 1979.
Okay. And back then, now think back, we're on Seacoast Drive, which was called First Street back then. What did it look like?
There was a lot of businesses that had been run down.
In what respect?
Well, the buildings were all original.
Yeah.
And of course, as quaint as it was, though, I really liked it on the beach because they were, some of them were uninsulated ranch-style houses.
Right.
But they were individual houses with individual lots right on the beach.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure that's the last time on the West Coast that it had been like that.
Right.
Whereas now it's all multi-unit conglomerates, big business, you know.
Yeah. Now, as far as the businesses that were on First Street or Seacoast Drive, try to picture in your mind what this block looked like. What was there from, say, the pier on down this way?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot. We've always had the IB Liquor Mart. That's been the name for years. There was, as a matter of fact, the most southwesterly 7-Eleven in the United States was right up there.
Uh-huh.
And it's a restaurant now.
Right.
Catty corner from Bibby's Shell Show. But I just thought about that now. Yeah, there was a 7-Eleven years ago.
Okay, what else?
There was a couple of small stores, little restaurants, but I really vaguely remember them. Mostly it was, they had bars down here. They had a few of the old bars.
What kind of bars?
You know, kind of a little bit rough and tumble.
Oh, yeah. Remember the...
Yell and scream and nobody cared, you know.
What was the name of them?
Well, I do remember one of them was the Rapskeller. That was, you know, pretty rough and tumble place. We've always had the plank. I always preferred the plank because it's more easy going.
Tell people what the planks was like and if it's changed.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, but it still retained it. While it's wooden, it was the wooden structure from, what, 100 years ago now, I believe. 100 years ago. But they've added on quite a bit, an outdoor in the back. Now that's enclosed too, so it's probably changed by at least a third or so. You know,
do you remember when the plank was flooded out in that big storm in the 80s?
Seaweed right in the threshold. Seaweed covering the threshold. Yeah, there was all over the place. Seaweed everywhere.
There was surf that came right on through the building.
Yeah. The snow reminded me, actually the sand reminded me of snow.
Right.
Blanketing the street there.
SEAL Team 11 hung out there.
Oh yeah, you had every kind of Vietnam veterans, Navy, Marines. There's still a lot of that memorabilia there, which is nice, you know.
Did you ever hear of a name, Jesse Ventura, that used to hang out there?
Yeah, but he always wanted to wrestle me. I didn't want to wrestle him, so I had to bypass him. Yeah, no, I didn't know he hung around there.
He did.
But I knew he was a SEAL.
Yeah.
I was in Vietnam.
And with the plank, it's actually the oldest commercial building in all San Diego County, from what I understand.
Yeah, I believe it's just over 100 years.
And that's the unofficial mayor owns that. We'll interview him later, Al Winkleman. Okay, so you had the Rat, and you called that earlier before this conversation a biker bar. And what would go on in there? That was the one you said.
Don't bring your wife or your girlfriend in there unless you didn't want to be your wife or your girlfriend. Yeah, just, you know, some yelling and screaming. You can buy certain things you can't buy at stores, you know.
Such as?
oh, you would just see things going on, and you knew what it was.
Yeah.
You knew what it was.
You were telling me that one of the things that messed up a little bit back in the 60s and 70s was a lot of crystal meth in this town.
You literally could see people barefoot, pants ragged on the cuff, no shoes or socks on, skinny, jaws going. You knew what they were into. Anybody who's been here that long can easily remember a lot of people like that. Took a lot of lives, a lot of families, well, some families, and so we've come a long way in that respect. We don't have that I see it anymore, that kind of a thing going on. I'm sure there's other things, but
right. Did you live down near the beach here or further inland?
Yeah, I lived up on 7th Street.
Okay.
7th Street.
About 6 blocks from here, yeah.
Yeah.
You rode your bike around a lot?
I used to ride my bike down to TJ, but I haven't been down there in years.
You used to drive your bike to Tijuana?
Yeah, down out through beaches.
How would you go there from here?
You'd take the old Tocayo Road, then get on San Isidro Boulevard, just take it all the way down and, walk your bike right across the border, which was nice because you could avoid a lot of the lines there.
Right.
But in the last 20 years or so, since all the traffic is...
You were telling me a lot of people used to just walk across the border, or what do they do, swim or walk? Or?
Well, years ago, when we have the jetty down here, there was just a straight strip of land, which I think for the most part is still there, but many people on a weekend, you'd see people with bags of clothes, and they weren't beachgoers, they were coming up from Mexico to try to pass through just walking and be, taken as a tourist, so they could kind of blend in. But yeah, that was real common. And then in the estuary, every weekend you'd hear a helicopter chasing immigrants or whoever was crossing over down there.
Right.
That was real common.
So you were telling me that our drive-in movie was here at the time that you remember?
Yes. Drive-in movie's been there for, ever. And now you mention it, that was one of my favorite places right next to it, which is Mendoza Elementary now. It was the Mendoza's cornfield. It was a huge cornfield, probably, at least 5, 6, 7 acres. Just all nice straight furrows and fields. Best tomatoes, best corn, and I was the biggest producer down in this part of the county then.
And then how about the movie theater? We had a movie theater here. You were telling me it was a Filipino theater.
Yeah, the late 60s, early mid-70s, it was a Filipino theater. And then it changed over in the late 70s to American movies. Saw a Chuck Norris film there one time. That was pretty good. But that was back in the 80s, yeah. And that was a big thing for a little town like this, because otherwise you had to travel all over just to get to Chula Vista.
And now it's a church.
Now it's a church.
Okay. And then also where the Goodwill and all those stores, they've all been there a long time?
Yeah, the Goodwill originally was, as you know, South Bay Rexall for many years. That was a big South Bay Rexall chain, probably from the 60s up through the early 80s.
What are your favorite donuts in IB?
Donuts? The ones you do in a car.
No.
In the sand.
It
has to be the Starlight.
Stardust.
Stardust, yep.
Somebody referred to them as the donut Nazis. You ask for some donuts and I go, nope, you can't have those. Nope.
No donuts for you.
There you
donuts for you. Yeah. Oh, and then we can't forget the Palomino. Well, no, not the Palomino.
What?
On the corner, the motel.
Palomino Hook?
Was it?
Go ahead.
The Swiss, the inn, the little inn or something. But that was a mainstay for years because that was the last thing you'd see headed to Coronado, the last big business that we had there. What's the name of it? So we should have talked about that first. That restaurant, the inn and the little restaurant. Yeah, just can't think of it. But that was the last thing you'd see when you headed out of town going to Coronado.
Yeah. So you like some of the improvements that they've done here in the city, artwork, redevelopments, the aesthetic improvements?
Yeah, Bibby's especially is a beautiful building.
We'll have to show everybody what you refer to as Bibby's. It's a shell shop with a lot of murals on it.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, no, what they've done in this town, I don't think people that lived here this long could ever have imagined it would have, you know, aesthetically improved like this. And the streets, the sidewalks, all the ADA for the sidewalks also. You know, the minute you go to San Diego, it changes. The minute you leave Imperial Beach probably has the best street sidewalks in the whole county, versus the minute you get to San Diego, they just leave so much to be desired. So much. We're very, very lucky. So many of those respects, the things, the improvements.
All right. Yeah. Okay, well, I think we're going to call it a day here, and we'll see you again with another interview soon.
All right. Yes,
okay.
John.